Hello, I'm Marcus Brigstocke and I'm a guest director at this year's Cheltenham Science Festival. Having a lovely time. Well, I'm not a scientist by any stretch of the imagination. I read quite a few sort of pop science books and spend a lot of my time reading the newspapers, concerning myself with things going on in the world. And so this is a very good way for me to spend some time here in a semi-formal sense, meeting people whose work fascinates me and getting to know a bit more about them. What have I found out so far? That there are a great many very, very bright people. Alarmingly bright people. I was a judge yesterday in the FameLab competition where young scientists present things that they're working on or particular scientific enthusiasms that they have, and we had to decide between 10 of them, which was very, very difficult. And I think the thing that I've learned that's perhaps more astonishing to me than anything else is that the best storage device for data that we have available to us is paper. It's better than USB sticks, hard drives, CD-ROMs, and whatever else. It's more reliable, it lasts longer, and all you need to make it work is a brain and eyes. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. My sort of main scientific interest has been climate change, not because I have a great enthusiasm for the subject. In fact, I find it a deeply depressing subject, but it's been a very interesting way to be immersed into the world of science because there are approximately 97% of climate scientists now say, firstly, climate change is happening faster than it's ever happened on Earth, and that it's man-made. Yet you would think from reading the media and watching the telly, listening to the radio, that it's sort of about 50-50. You know, something it is, something it isn't, and all the rest of it. So that's been a strange way of being exposed to information. I've been very lucky. I've been to the Arctic on 2 occasions to work with climate scientists and oceanographers looking specifically at temperature rises and ice melt in the Arctic. So I've done some hands-on work myself, which in no way qualifies me as an expert, but just someone with a keen interest in it, I suppose. And to be perfectly honest with you, I wish I knew nothing at all about climate change. It's a dreadful responsibility and a very tiresome fight to keep on having with people. But on the upside, you know, like lots of people in terms of science, I'm dazzled and baffled and enchanted by the tech stuff that gets developed all the time, the new technologies and the ways in which we communicate with each other around the world. That's a particular fascination for me because I think it's becoming more and more difficult to ignore the way that people live in a different part of the world and the way that we live in the developed world, and to reconcile the differences between those two states. You know, a few clicks of a mouse away, I can see somebody in anywhere in the world, and the way that they live their lives is very different from my own, and that fascinates me. I think, I mean, this is my first science festival, so to be a guest director, I'm spending an awful lot of time waiting to be tapped on the shoulder by someone going, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" But I hope that approaching this from a very amateurish but keen place and wanting to explore from quite an uninformed position is a valid way of going about things. The Cheltenham Science Festival has about 30,000 tickets available, and then most of which are taken up, and then many more visitors who come and just look at the free stuff that's available here, and it's fantastic. I mean, you should see the number of kids walking around the festival having a go on things and getting stuck in. I mean, there's this, actually Professor Robert Winston's talked about this week, this strange disconnect that we have between the things that we think of as science and the rest of our lives. I mean, science is everything, is everywhere. All of the technologies that we use, the engineering that we walk on, the roads, the pavements, the cars, the planes, bicycles, whatever that we get in and out of, are all scientific. all the questions really that we ask ourselves about the way that we live our lives and what we're going to eat and where it comes from, they're all scientific questions. So I think that science festivals are a fantastic way for people to interact with the very nerdy, geeky, probably don't see other human beings most of the year round end of science, and the very accessible, we use it every day and these are the amazing new innovations end of science, and everything that lies in between. So I'd recommend it. If you've never been to a science festival before, which I hadn't, it's a great experience, really enjoyable.